Hi, this is Danny from Danny'sDesigns.com, and today I wanted to show you how to make this cute Christmas card. I made this for a recent Control Freak swap, and I just thought it'd be fun to show you how I made it. So to start with, you're going to need a few pieces of cardstock. Here I have a piece of real red cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I have it scored at 5 1/2 and folded. That's the base of the card. You need a scrap of silver glimmer paper. I have 3 pieces of designer series paper. This is from the Merry Moments designer series paper. Each one of these measures 1 inch by 5 1/2 inches. You need a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I have 2 pieces of Smoky Slate cardstock. They're both the same. They both measure 4 inches by 5 1/4. To start with, go ahead and set the base aside. I'm going to start with the pieces of the designer series paper, and I have our new triple banner punch. I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and you want to insert these into the little 1 inch marks right here. Press it back as far as it'll go and press. Now on this piece of designer series paper, you can see its little ornaments. There's a top and there's a bottom. Make sure when you put it in there that you put the bottom in. I've done that wrong once or twice before. And then this one. A little bit of a tight squeeze, but make sure it goes all the way to the back and press. And we're done with that. So now I want to go ahead and adhere this to one of my pieces of Smoky Slate cardstock. And for that I'm just going to use some snail adhesive. And actually I'm going to start with the pieces on the edges first. I find that it's easier to line up if I start on the edges and then do the middle one last. So it goes all the way to the top, and I'm leaving about 1/4 inch border down that side. And then I'm going to get the piece on the other edge. Again, 1/4 inch border down here. And then my final piece. Now this is why I do this one last, because it's easier to take the extra space and divide it in half on either side. So center it between those other 2 strips and press it into place. Okay, next I have a piece of, this is our Whisper White seam binding. I like to cut it about 1/2 inch wider on either side. And then I'm going to flip that over, add some adhesive to the back. About 1 inch down is where I want it. Wrap those edges around and press it into place. Okay. Next I have a piece of the Cherry Cobbler baker's twine. This is about 8 inches. I'm going to stick it underneath there and tie that. Okay. Now when I tie it the one time, you'll see that my strings are going up and down. According to the card, they're going up and down. Now the problem if I tie a bow with it like this, the bow is going to be sideways. So I found the easiest way to get my bow to be the correct way, up and down, is to tie it again, and this time the pieces are going that way, so now my bow will be oriented this way. But for me, for some reason when I tie bows, they always end up upside down, so I always turn my cardstock upside down and tie it so that when I'm done, it's right side up. Not working today. Okay, make it smaller. Now you see why I don't use baker's twine very often in my projects. It's hard. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call that good. Take my scissors and trim off the edges. Okay, and now we're gonna set this piece aside for just a minute. Okay, now if I bring in my scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, I want to cut out a piece using, let's see, these are the Lots of Label framelits. These are brand new, and I'm going to be using this one. It's the 4th one in from the outside or from the inside, whichever one. It's the very middle. I'm going to put this right here, and I'm going to cut that out with my Big Shot. Okay, now that I've cut that out, let's go ahead and pop that out of the cardstock. and set that aside. And also, once I have the scrap piece of paper out, I'm going to go ahead and do some stamping. I'm using this tree stamp right here from the Lots of Joy stamp set. It's new in the catalog. And I'm going to be using my old olive ink pad for that. Ink it up. Stamp it down. And I also stamped a tree on the inside of my card, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that as well. Just stamped it over here in the bottom right corner. Okay. Close that up, and then I have my coordinating tree punch. Stamped it a little too far up. Go ahead and center that in the punch and punch it out. Okay, so for this piece right here that I cut out with the framelits, I'm going to go ahead and sponge around the edges with Real Red ink. All right. Have some adhesive. And I'm going to put the trunk of the tree down here. Make sure that goes straight across because I want room at the top for the little star that I'm going to add. So for that I have my piece of glimmer cardstock and my star punch. Okay. And the star is really tiny, so I want to take a dimensional and I'm going to have to cut it in half. Oh, I already have a half one right there. So you're going to use a half a dimensional, peel that off the back, and line it up on the back as best you can so that it doesn't show. Take the backing off and place that at the top of the tree. Okay. Add a little bit more adhesive, and then I'm going to put this so the star is right below that little knot. And then you want to center it so that an equal amount of this label is sticking onto this banner as well as that banner, and then press it into place. Have my card base, and for this I'm going to use fast fuse just because I want to make sure that this ribbon sticks in place and it doesn't push the layers apart. Okay. Center that on my card front. Press it into place, and last, the inside of my card. There you go, and my card's done. Bow's not as pretty on that one, but I can never tie bows on camera. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks so much for stopping by.